This is a WDT tool and I never use it. A WDT tool is meant to break up the grounds inside of a coffee portafilter to give a better and more even extraction. It's a technique called the Weiss Distribution Technique, which is this basically more or less the stirring of grounds. There's a lot of videos explaining more about this, and I don't necessarily disagree with the claims that this does produce a better extraction. In fact, when you watch the US barista competitions or the world barista competitions, you will often see them breaking up the clumps of their grounds in order to get a more consistent and even extraction. So why don't I use it? And you might think I jumped on the habit of using a blind shaker to distribute my grounds, but I haven't done that either. In fact, I don't do anything when it comes to distributing my coffee grounds. I want to take a quick moment to just say, please like and subscribe. It helps me produce more content. I have affiliate links, which I make slight commission at no extra charge to you. I have a Patreon and I have some merch. All that stuff is in the description below. Let's move on from that now. So here's a lot of reasons why I don't use it, is simply for the main one of the fact that I find it completely inconvenient. When it comes to doing the WDT tool method, I find that oftentimes it's easy to bend the needles and then you have to replace them. It's just another thing sitting on your coffee bar and cleaning it up. You have to have a funnel because when you stir your grounds, oftentimes you push things away and you push away the coffee grounds out of your portafilter. If you don't have the right funnel, the funnel will sit inside of it a little bit and then kind of defeat the purpose, so you have to take the funnel off and do it again. It's just a lot of extra steps that I don't find completely necessary to get a good quality shot. Now, it might not be the best shot, but it's far superior than a lot of other places you can go to get a shot of espresso because of the other equipment that I use. And I want to take a quick moment from this video to talk about today's sponsor. There's a lot of tools out there, and one of the ones that I find the most useful is a place to store my coffee beans. That's where these come to play. These are the Outpeak bean canisters, and I absolutely love what they've done with it. First off, the packaging of this was absolutely amazing. It comes with some nice instructions with a nice wax seal on them and a great paper on it with some coasters, and it was just a very, very pleasant, shocking surprise when it comes to the quality of the packaging alone in it. With that, you are included some stickers and a USB-C cable, which we'll get to in just a little bit, and a bean scoop. And lastly, my favorite thing is this little tiny bean storage. And one of the things that I love about this so much is the fact that this allows you to take a small amount of coffee wherever you want to go. This is enough for a dose of espresso. So if you have something like a flare, you can bring this with you and you can brew outside or make a pour over to go. It's just a nice little thing that I can see myself using a lot. So here's one of the things that makes this canister unique from the others on the market. There are ones that have been around for a long time that you have to pull this thing out and in of this canister in order to be able to access your beans. There's other ones like this one that you have to go back and forth to make an airtight seal, press a button, and it just seems like a long process. They've done something unique here, and they come in a black right here, and they come in a glass as well. And the nice thing about that is there is two buttons on here. There's a big one right here, and if you press this just a few times, that's going to let the air out, and you can simply open up your canister. And when you're ready to close it, you just simply click this power button, and it will actually remove all of the air electronically for you. There's no twisting, there's no pulling, just a simple press of the button. You can be confident that your beans are airtight sealed. You cannot lift this lid off by force, and again, you just simply click this button a few times and there's a red indicator that lets you know that you can open this and you have access to your beans again. I think they've done a great job of making something unique at a very, very dense population of coffee products. And I think you'll be pleasantly pleased because everybody has beans that they need for their coffee makers. And most people use single dosing grinders, which means you have to have a place to store them. And if you try to pull it out of a bag, it just is kind of a hassle. And these just look great. They function great. And it even gives you a little peace of mind that your beans will be fresh. Thank you again to Outpeak for sponsoring this video. Now back to what we were talking about. On a lot of my grinders, you'll find these catch cups, and on a lot of grinders nowadays, you find cash cups. And what you simply do is you just take your portafilter and you put it on top of it, flip it over, and I just give it a swirl, And usually my coffee grounds will be evened out fairly well from that. And if there's a high pile on one side, I'll just take my finger and I'll push it, and then I'll tamp after that, put it in my espresso machine, and we'll be good to go, and I'll have a really good quality shot. I want to point out two things specifically. When you watch competition, barista competition specifically, oftentimes you'll still see them using the WDT method and using some kind of fancy tool for that. And I think that means that there's a lot of good in that. If they are using it on competition levels, it means that it is doing something. But when it comes to looking at a cafe side of things or your favorite coffee shop, oftentimes you won't see that. And that's not necessarily an indicator that the espresso shot that you're going to get is bad and is going to taste terrible. In fact, oftentimes you can find it to be absolutely incredible. And I think that's where we get a little overwhelmed in all the tools that we have. There's so many different little things that you can buy. I've mentioned airtight canisters already. I've mentioned a shaker, a funnel, a WDT needle tool. All of these things, they just add up in cost and they add up in clutter and they sit all over your coffee bar. When what I find is best in the morning is I take my grinder and I have portafilter hooks on my Eureka Atom 75. I put my portafilter in there, tamp, lock it in my espresso machine. I'm good to go. And if I'm using a single dose grinder, I will simply put my portafilter on top, flip it over, shake, tamp, and I'm good to go. And it just makes it a little bit quicker and a little bit more enjoyable for me and a little bit faster. So I want to hear from you. What do you do in your method? Do you do this WDT method because you believe that it makes your espresso taste better and you absolutely know the difference between the two? Are you doing it because that's what everybody else is doing and you think it's cool and you just kind of want another piece of gear to geek out on, which there's nothing wrong with? Are you into this blind shaker method as these have sold out everywhere over the past month thanks to another person on YouTube named Lance making a review on this whole WDT method? I want to hear from you on this. I want to hear your comments on what you do. Are you somebody who wants to get all in on this, or are you just here for making a good quality shot time after time again? And if it's just not the perfect, most well extracted shot, are you okay with that, or are you looking to achieve the best possible results out of the equipment that you have? Let me know in the comments below, and I just want to say thanks again for watching this video.